I have never had the best luck in life. One minute I am feeling great, but it's always short-lived. Many people think that I am lucky because I am good-looking, but I don't consider that as luck. Flowers wither and beauty fades over time. I am old enough to realize that looks are fleeting, and it depends on what you do with it if you got it. In my case, all it did was to attract the wrong people, the dope boys, flashy boys, and bad boys, and it scares away the good guys. Even the Bible says that beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Although I grew up in church, I didn't fear God. I was determined to be a rebel, and it had come back to bite me. Just when I thought my life was getting back on track, just when I thought my ex-boyfriend is gone for good, he was released from prison, and his next offense was to ruin my marriage by exposing a dark secret that I have hidden from everyone for years. I grew up in a traditional household, both parents married, and eldest of 2 younger siblings. My parents were religious and strict, the Pentecostal type that would force us to attend church 2 times a week. They wanted me to leave that type of lifestyle. They wanted me to leave an exemplary life for my younger siblings. I was an average student at best, and I hated school. The few good friends I have told me that I should be a model. I thought maybe they were being sarcastic because I was thinking they thought of me as a bimbo, but they told me that I have the height and look, and come to think of it, they may be right, but all I thought about was the negative instead of positive. That's the self-esteem problem I have always struggled with right from a young age. My dad always told me that you are what you think you are, and within me I didn't feel like it was those things that people thought I was. I wanted to be a rebel. I have always been fascinated by books and movies that explore the legend of criminals like John Dillinger, Bonnie and Clyde, Al Capone, and many other misfits of the society. Maybe because I felt like a misfit, I tried to look different from other girls. I tried to dress sexier and wear more makeup than necessary. Many girls would get jealous of me because they think that I am flirting with their boyfriend. The truth is that they all wanted me, but I don't want them. However, I enjoy the power I had over them. When they see how much their boyfriends were slobbering over me, they get jealous. I had more female haters than friends and more male friends than I want. Due to the hate I was getting from those females, I decided at that young age that I will quit having a lot of female friends because of their drama and control. I started having male friends, but I wasn't sleeping with any of them. I just enjoy the attention and loyalty they show me. They will go above and beyond to be there for me, so I thought it was easier to have male friends. You know how women could be so cruel. They started spreading rumors at school. Rumors started to spread around school that I was sleeping with those male friends. It got so bad that word even reached my parents. My parents had always been against how I dressed. They would go on about how I was wearing too much makeup and staying up late, so it was easy for them to believe the rumor. I told them the truth, but they didn't believe me. They believed strangers instead of me. I began to resent my parents. The rumors destroyed the relationship I had with my parents. I wanted to show them how upset I was, so I did the opposite of what they wanted me to do. I started hanging out with the wrong crowd, smoking and drinking at an age that I wasn't supposed to. One day I was invited to a party by one of my friends. That was when I first met Daniel. He was 2 years older than me at the time, and he is a dealer. He drove a nice car and dressed flamboyantly. He approached me, and we hit it off. I felt like he understood me. He was my first. He had his own apartment and expensive cars, but he had always wished to leave in California. He started pressuring me to go with him, but I wouldn't abandon my school and family to move to another state with him. Few months after we started dating, he got arrested and was sent to jail for 2 months. When he got out, he wanted me to move with him to California more than ever, because he claimed that the police around my area were targeting and harassing him, and he couldn't survive here. We were dating in secret because I didn't want my parents or my siblings to know. Until one day my parent called me for an intervention and accused me of dating a known dealer and that they heard that I was using. I tried to deny it, but they didn't believe me, which was not surprising. I was grounded and couldn't go anywhere besides school and church. I missed hanging out with my boyfriend, so he convinced me to run away with him. Unfortunately, I did. I wrote a note to my parents about how controlling they are and that I was going to run away with my boyfriend. I was 18 years old and 2 months from graduating high school when I ran away with my 20-year-old boyfriend. Back then I was living in a dream world. I was so naive. I was thinking that we were both Bonnie and Clyde. He promised me the world, that we would both travel around California. I didn't care how I was going to get money because he always had money, and I didn't care about how he made the money. He had a nice car then and we drove to Southern California and stay at an extended stay motel. My parents were looking for me and I didn't want them to find me. They told the police that I was kidnapped. And I saw it on Facebook, so I called the police and told them that I wasn't kidnapped, and I came on my own volition. I was 18 and old enough to do what I wanted. Shortly after we moved to California, my boyfriend got caught by the police for selling few grams of white powder and he got arrested. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have much, just a few thousand. I have no job or enough to rent an apartment. I had only half a week left before I get kicked out of the motel. I didn't want to go back home to my parents because I was prideful and didn't want to seem like a failure. I didn't want them to tell me that they told me so. I decided to go to one of my boyfriend friends who was also a dealer. He became friends with my boyfriend when he moved to California. He always seemed friendly, and I thought he was a good guy. My boyfriend was going to be in jail for about 5 to 7 months, so I asked him if I could stay at his place till my boyfriend got out. He had an extra bedroom, and he lives with his girlfriend, so I felt safe. I stayed at his place for about 2 days before he asked me to come to a party with him. A party with many of his friends, most of whom I didn't know. His girlfriend wasn't coming, so he wanted me to go with him. When I went to the party, the house was strange looking. Everywhere was dark in the house, and it was decorated with party lights. There were about 15 to 18 guys and just 4 girls, a DJ, and a bunch of alcohol and powder. I knew only one of the girls. Most of the guys were non-white, so I felt out of place. The male friend that I came with told me that some of the guys knew my boyfriend. When some of the guys found out who I was, they knew my boyfriend was in jail, so they started trying their luck. I was having fun drinking and smoking. The guy that I came with disappeared, so I bonded with the girl that I knew. We were not close friends, but I knew where she lives, and she could be my ride. Drinks and powder were plentiful. I remember doing some lines and drinking, and that was all I could remember that evening. I woke up the following morning feeling used. My purse was gone with my ID and some money I came with. Even the male friend that I came with was nowhere to be found, and nobody but me was in the house. It was like the house was abandoned. I will later find out that they messed with my drink and took turns at me. I later found that out from the girl what the me at the party did to me. They took turns on me. She claimed that she already left before it happened, and she couldn't do anything about it because I refused to leave with her earlier. I didn't recall what she was saying. I couldn't recall most of what took place the night before. In hindsight, it appeared that the male friend I came with set me up from the start. They are really bad people, and I was in over my head. When I woke up on the couch, nobody was in the house. The house was dirty and seemed like an abandoned house. It looked totally different from the place I came to last night. It didn't seem anywhere near what I thought it looked like last night. I woke up tired with a hangover. I wasn't going to go back to that old friend that I came to the party with. When I got out of the house, I was bruised, dress shredded, and could barely walk. I wanted to call my mom. I should have gone to the police, but what was I going to tell them? An 18-year-old runaway going to a party with 15 to 18 shady guys amongst shady people. Moreover, calling the police wasn't even on my mind. I was tired and helpless, and I wanted to go home. I approached an elderly woman waiting on a bus on the street and I asked her if I could use her cell phone. I wanted to call my mom in another state. As soon as I called my mom, I started crying, telling her that I wanted to come home. She asked me where I was, and I told her that I was in Irvine, California. She asks what happened to me, but I didn't want to tell her. She deposited money to my account so I can take a flight home. Then I gave the phone back to the woman. The woman overheard my conversation with my mom and figured out what I was hiding from my mom. She was an elderly black woman, and I guess she have seen things, and by the condition I was in, it was obvious what had happened to me, and she decided to call the police. When the police came, I told them all I could remember, and they took me to the hospital. I went through checkup after checkup, STD test and Plan B. After resting at the hospital, I was taken to a women's shelter where I slept for hours. I woke up the following day when I heard my mom and dad voice. They were already at the shelter. Apparently, after my phone call with mom, the police called them, and they took the first flight available. I have never been so happy to see my parents. I have never seen my dad cry before, and I was ashamed of what I have done to them. They planned on taking me back home that same day. I didn't have my ID, so we couldn't board a flight. We decided to take a Greyhound bus home. It took time for me to heal from that trauma, and I was getting back to normal. About a week or so later, I had made peace with my parents. I have settled down, back in my old room. Then I got a new phone, decided to log into my Facebook. I was checking my Facebook when I saw a message from the girl that I was with at the party. She was asking me my whereabouts, and I told her that I was back home. I asked her why she left me behind, and she said that she didn't leave me. She said I was the one that insisted on staying when she wanted to leave. She said that I was talking to some of the guys and wouldn't leave. She claimed that she stayed for a few minutes and got frustrated and left. After she left the party, she later heard from another one of her friends what actually happened to me at the party. She said she had been trying to reach out to me and was glad that I was doing all right. The last thing she said left me numb. She claimed that one of the guys videotaped the entire assault and there was a clip of it, and she saw it. It didn't sink in much how detrimental that would be for me in the future, but for now I am just trying to recover and get my life back